moi, it is Joinen. And I was wondering the other day, what happened to true animated stories, right? Because I'm not crazy. There was a time when all of the animated stories on YouTube claimed to be true stories. I remember, I am not making this up. My Story Animated, MSA previously My Story Animated. I mean, they've been previously My Story Animated for like years now. But they were called My Story Animated because it was about people who sending in their stories. There were real stories and they claimed to be true. And then they just got wilder and wilder. And every time we were like, I don't think that's true. That can't be true. That was like part of the appeal of the video though. And I was thinking this and I was scrolling through, I was having a look. When did they stop doing that? And then I saw it over in this little corner, right here. It says, sorry boys, the Emperor wears heels. And then it says in brackets, historical story. It's back. It's back. It may be historical, but we have a true My Story Animated. It's a real story that actually happened. So I think for old time's sake, we've got to have a look. We've got to check out an absolute classic one here. A true animated story.
Have you ever had a dream so big it seemed impossible to reach?
Have you ever had a dream that you would call, you'd be want you could do so you could want him to do you so much you could do anything? Cause I have. Sorry, what what were you saying?
What should you do if nobody around believes in you? Or they try to take you down out of envy? Hi, I'm Wu Ziqian, and my story takes place some 1400 years ago in the Chinese...
1400 years ago in the Chinese Empire. So true story, yes. Old story, yes. Less than 2 seconds in and Joinen gets distracted. I'm sorry. When someone says, have you ever had a dream so big? My brain goes elsewhere.
Chinese Empire. Yet I feel some things haven't changed much for us girls. The year I was born, a total sun eclipse darkened the sky. It was a sign of big changes, though at the time, nobody would have guessed that small, sweet Wu would be the one to make history. Growing up, life was good. I had 2 sisters and 2 older half-brothers from Dad's previous marriage. Our family was not part of the aristocratic class, but was very wealthy, which meant I didn't have to do any chores as we had.
Yeah, let's go. No chores confirmed. That's the best. Growing up rich, no chores. That's what it's all about. I can never get over just how fast the pacing is of My Story Animateds. The animation goes crazy. But the storytelling, it's like bam, 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 bam. Which Chinese empire, though? Song? Han? Is that Qing? Well, 1400 years ago. Does that answer the question?
Staff taking care of daily activities. However, unlike other rich girls who mostly lazed off, Dad encouraged me to study from a young age.
Not like other
girls.
girls.
Realized just how smart I was, with a talent for poetry and public speaking. So he started...
I'm not like other girls from 1400 years ago in China. I have a talent for poetry. Uh-huh. That's what they all say.
Take me on business trips. I loved meeting new people and asked lots of questions. Yes, I was a bit unusual as a kid, but my family was very proud of me. Well, except my brothers.
Why are you studying again? You're just a girl.
And?
Your job is to get married and to have kids.
Okay.
Dad is wasting resources on you. Maybe he's afraid you'll never find a husband. And what's this? Oops.
And with that, he spilled ink all...
Dang, dude. Not a cool move. Get with the times. Get with the 1400 years ago. That is so old school. Telling her that all she's got to do is has a heart. Why? It moves so fast. I don't know if this makes me old man, but I'm slightly worried about the next generation. I mean, this thing has 6.4 million views, which is not nothing. These are the kinds of videos that kids are growing up watching these days. And the storytelling moves so fast that, do we think there's a world in which shows and movies and stuff are paced like this in the future? Even the real deal stuff? Because I can't keep up with it. I feel like there's no time to comprehend anything.
All over my notes. One day, you'll regret being so mean. I tried avoiding them as much as possible. But then, around the time I was 14, Dad got very ill and left us. Nothing was
Left
ever
us?
the same. My brothers started acting like the bosses of the family. Without Dad to keep them in check, they became rude to Mom, bullied my
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Feels like we had like a little bit of an emotional moment there. We could have stewed on that for a little bit. Oh, your dad left you? But we're just moving past that. I don't even think he left. I think he died. And we did not care. We've got too much story to get through too fast. Fast pace and big subtitles. That's what it's all gonna be in the future. All movies, all shows. And the subtitles are gonna come up one word at a time. In the Mr. Beast font.
my sisters and were especially mean to me. Like the time I spent too much time with a friend and was late for my curfew. It was a rainy evening. I ran back home, but the front gates were already locked. No matter how much I yelled and banged on the doors, nobody could hear me over the wind and thunder. In the end, I crouched there all night until early morning. Mom found me crying and shivering.
I'm so sorry, Wu. They told me you were back and sleeping. I should have checked.
That little adventure gave me a cold so bad I stayed in bed for a week. Without Dad, I felt powerless. I had to do something to—
Oh, right, yeah, because the dad was the one that believed in her. Was the one that thought that she could actually do stuff like poetry. Nobody checked on her. They're busy. They got other things to worry about. Didn't you hear? They have sons. They got sons to worry about. It's so fast. I'm coping just fine. There was the dad died. And since then, she slept outside in the rain. There may or may not have been other things that happened as well. My Story Animated definitely didn't used to be this fast. It's gotten faster for sure.
Felt powerless. I had to do something to change my fate, not only for me, but also for my mom. A chance presented itself when a beauty contest was held in town. The winner would be taken to serve at the palace. It was a huge deal and a way to gain respect and admiration. Mom was worried about my plan, and her fears came true when I won. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a surprise, being not only the prettiest girl in town, but also well-educated.
Yep. Honestly, I wasn't surprised. I didn't doubt it for a second. I knew I was the most beautiful one in town. It's an easy dub, really.
Others just scoffed at the news and said they won't miss me. Typical. Mom helped me pack my things, and on the day of my departure, she cried as we hugged. Don't be sad, Mother. Who's to say it isn't my fate to meet the Emperor? And so, she understood. I wasn't going to the palace to escape my problems. No. I had a bigger plan. A hope to get noticed by the Emperor. Maybe one day marrying into the royal family.
Oh, okay. Simple plan then. Basic simple plan. I thought you were going to say something big. I thought you had some grand plan. But no, it's just to get noticed by the Emperor and potentially marry him. Marry the Emperor. Honestly, dream bigger. Dream bigger. Have a dream so big that you would, and then you wouldn't, and you could be bigger, and that it would be a bigger dream that you could want him to want the Emperor so much that you could do and win him from you. Become a concubine.
To bring honor to my name. But my life in the palace started on the wrong foot. The Emperor took a quick glance at me and decided I'll be doing laundry? I didn't spend my childhood reading the classics and refining my calligraphy for this. One day, I was trying to get inside the palace library, but the guard wouldn't let me in, questioning if I could even read. Are you kidding? I was composing poetry at 6. Give me some books or I'll report you to the Emperor.
Do you know who I am? I was composing poetry at 6, and you was gonna let me read?
Pale, looking behind me, I turned and, oh my, the Emperor had heard it all. He seemed amused and I just doubled down, following him around the library all afternoon. By the end of the day, he was so impressed by my wit and education that he made me his secretary. Finally, that was my chance to work my way up the political ladder until, a decade later, nothing has changed.
Holy moly! Okay, jeez. It's not just like they're speaking. It's not just their general pacing. Until 10 years later, nothing happened. We've moved along. Keep up. 10 years. Come on. Did you catch that? You could have sneezed and missed the fact that 10 years just passed. Talk about a time skip. You gotta be like locked in. That's how they keep their retention up for these videos. You can't miss a word. Eyes glued Glued to the TV.
I'm a forgotten secretary. Then, the emperor passed away, and I got sent to a Buddhist
He
convent
didn't
to
leave
be a
us?
nun. All that time spent in the palace led nowhere. They even shaved my head. But not all was lost. You see, while I was living at the palace, I got close to the emperor's youngest son, Lee. We met one random day when I was holding a bowl for him to clean his hands, and he flicked some water at me. Offended by his childish behavior, I was ready to give him a lecture. His shy smile and...
Hey, she's not the type of girl to take a joke. She takes herself very seriously. I don't know if you know, she got there because she thought she was going to be so good looking that the emperor would look at her and want to marry her. So she's not going to appreciate your little splish splash joke.
Cute face melted my rage. So refreshing. It's quite a warm day, isn't it? He laughed and we started chatting, quickly becoming friends. We were close in age and, unlike other officials, he was kind and humble, easy to talk to.
Do you ever regret coming to the palace? You
Oh, he's got a
probably
voice.
miss your family.
I do. Well, everyone except my brothers. Those two I would banish to the corner of the empire, never to be seen again.
I get that. My brothers either pretend I don't exist or act as if I'm beneath them. You think two
I
are
get
bad?
that.
Try living with 13.
Can't you
dang.
do something about them? You are a prince after all.
It's just a title. You'll learn it in time. Having a title doesn't necessarily mean the same as having power.
I knew what he meant. Lee, being the youngest, had 0 chances of succeeding his father. However, fate
Not
really
zero.
had a sense of humor.
Not
Turns out,
zero.
his brothers were so busy fighting each other over the title of crown prince that the emperor decided Lee was the better candidate for the throne. And
What did I say? Not 0. Hunky spunky. We got hunky spunky. Hey, having a title is not the same as having power. Oops, I got all the power. Oh, Luca's in the chat.
that's how my decade-long crush became the new emperor. He actually changed his name to Gaozong, but I'll keep calling him Lee to avoid confusion. I was genuinely
Okay.
happy for him, even if my new status as nun meant we could never be together. One day, I wrote a poem about how much I missed him and took a chance sending it to the palace.
Take a
Maybe
chance,
he
take a
wouldn't even
chance,
have
take a
time
chance.
to read it, but I had to try. To my surprise, it worked, and Lee came to the temple.
I got your letter. Is it true?
Tears started
Is it
rolling
true?
down my cheeks as I
You're bald now? Is that true?
nodded. We hugged, and when it was time for us to part, I could see he was reluctant to do so. Could
Oh,
it
he was
be
crying.
that my feelings were reciprocated? Indeed, he kept visiting, and one
Well, he was
evening,
crying.
I got a note saying I could grow my hair again. One
Yahoo!
year later, I was summoned back to the palace. There, I met Lady
But not a day sooner. He's like, look, I'll decree a thing that allows you to grow your hair again, but don't come back until it's like at least a year longer, all right? Time check, feels like 5 minutes in. Yeah, we're not even 6 minutes in to the story. It's crazy. It is crazy pacing.
Wang, who was quite a big name in court. She was to become empress, having been chosen as a consort by Lee's father himself. But that didn't mean things between them were all rosy and peachy.
I had meetings all
Rosie
day,
and
and when I
Peachy?
finally got the chance to relax at dinner, Wang started talking about more political issues.
This
It's the
horse is a-
last thing I
Man, a
want during
gulp?
my free time.
Is that why you're hiding in the stables with me?
Not hiding, just surveying your work.
Truly, some things never change. Lee was the most powerful person in the empire, yet his life was affected by so many people's influence and choices. I decided to be by his side the best I could, and in time, everyone started noticing how close we were, including Wang. That's when
Wang's not gonna be happy about that one. She's betrothed to the most powerful man in all the lands. And then there's you. Of course, Wang is evil. The thing is, Wang might not be evil. She's like betrothed to marry the emperor. I think she kind of has the right to be a bit upset when some chick is waltzing around with him all the time. They're spending all their time together and she's like, what the hell? We're supposed to get married. She's upset. I can see that for her. Wouldn't you be? Would you not be upset? And then you get pinned as the bad guy for the next 1400 years.
she showed her true colors. One afternoon, she invited me for tea.
Tell me about your family. I heard your dad got lucky during the rebellion, but he wasn't aristocracy.
My mom is.
Ah, yes. And what did she accomplish?
What'd she
Only
do?
had daughters and is not well liked by her stepsons. How disgraceful.
What is your
What?
point, Lady Wang?
I'm just
to
reminding
it.
you of your place. The only reason you've been called back was so the Emperor wouldn't have to visit that nunnery all the time. But
Right,
do
'cause
not
he's
be
into-
mistaken. You are not part of this world.
And then she started giving me so much work I couldn't keep up with it, and then
Homework.
complained about how lazy I was.
That's a Suits maneuver if there ever was one. I will drown you in paperwork. I know that move. Poison? No poison. Just having a stern talking to and a bunch of paperwork. The animation has improved. Yeah, the animation is top notch. The pacing though, I don't know. All I'm saying is I think we could have squeezed in a couple more minutes. She's not so evil so far. That's what I'm saying. It's like a little bit, but you know, again, she's supposed to marry the emperor and she's like, who is this? What's he doing? Spending all the time with her.
Little did she know, I was used to palace drama and was prepared to face much worse. One day, Lee surprised me with
Little did she know, I'm really good at paperwork and at doing my work. So I sat down and got it all done.
a beautiful hairpin with pearls and small gold lotus
hairpin?
flowers.
I know
was
what that
walking back
means.
to my chambers holding the small present when I noticed Lady Wang.
Nah, Lee gifted you a hairpin. If I know anything about ancient China, which is not that much, but I know that means he's got the hots for you.
Scolding a maid for spilling some water on her dress. The poor
Okay.
girl ran with tears in her eyes, and I felt my blood boil. I
So
knew
she-
what it meant to be beneath those of higher rank, both at home and at the palace. But then I got an idea. I followed the maid and gave her the hairpin. Lady
What?
Wu, I can't accept it. Sure you can. I want you to feel better, but I could never repay you. Just tell me the gossip you hear around the court. That's all I want. And so I started befriending servants.
I mean, a brother gifted you an extravagant hairpin, and you didn't have it for all of like 30 minutes before you passed it along to a girl, just to get the gossip from around the square. Video feels like it's been sped up. Has it? No, we're watching it at normal. I feel like I should be slowing it down. We should be watching it at like 0.75 speed.
Officials in exchange for news. Soon, I had ears and allies everywhere.
Oh, that's
and
a
that's
classic.
how I found
That's a
out
classic
Wang's
maneuver.
envy ran deeper than anyone imagined. That night, I ran to Emperor Lee. You have to come with me. Now, we silently walked through empty corridors, and I told Lee to wait outside.
How did she just get in? Surely not, right? Surely she doesn't just manage to just walk in to Emperor Lee's quarters. I doubt it. He must have better security than that.
As I marched into Wang's chambers. There, as the informer said, she was performing some sort of ritual with a voodoo doll shaped like me. I knew you were a witch, but this? Why stoop so low?
Why? You spend too
Wait,
much
real?
time with the
Actual witch?
Emperor. I have to stop you.
Just then, Lee walked into the room.
Lady Wang, I'm very disappointed. You are far
What are you doing? You're performing a ritual on that girl that I like? She's gonna crack it. If I know anything about villains in movies, when they get backed into a corner, then they just start throwing strays at anyone. Anyone and everyone is copping it now. Yeah, you did this! Why are you with her? And he starts taking it out on everyone, kicking and screaming on the way down.
from the noble woman I thought I'd marry.
She threw herself on her knees, begging for forgiveness, but it was no use. Witchcraft was a serious charge
That's
at the
not what I
time,
thought was
so Lee banished her
gonna
from
happen.
the palace. Soon after that, Lee confessed his feelings, and I was made the official consort, the new empress. But, as Lee said years ago, a title alone doesn't mean power, and
Oh yeah, I forgot. You weren't doing this because you were into him. You were doing this because you wanted the power. I forgot all about this. I was swayed for a second that this had become a love story, but no. You just wanted power. That's why you were doing this. But Wang is bad guy. Maybe she was just heartbroken. Maybe she was truly in love with Emperor Lee, and she was like, I know that she only wants you for your power.
that became clear to me while I kept listening to the Emperor's meetings with his advisors. I sat, as usual, in a small room behind a curtain of pearls, voicing my opinion when needed. The times my husband was ill, he trusted me to make decisions in his place, and some of his officials were
Sounds like a bit of power.
seriously offended by this.
It feels like the woman behind the curtain is the one actually running the state.
Brother, you ever read a history book? It's the woman in the ear. It always has been. That's the secret. You think this is new?
This is even beyond the palace walls. Truly unacceptable.
Behind their protests, there was
the
nothing
voice
but envy
necessary?
for the fact I was becoming more and more influential in court, and try as they might, they couldn't stop me. Some years later, Lee and I took a vacation to my hometown, which turned into days of feast and celebration. I had finally brought honor and status to my family. One evening,
Oh.
during a family dinner, Mom brought up the topic with my brothers.
Aren't you grateful for everything Wu did for us?
She just got lucky. Wu's not special, her husband is. Also, we never asked for the high ranks she gave us.
Why are they gonna make him so gross? Why are they so gross?
Flew into a rage, and the next day came to the palace to meet me.
Maybe it's time to give them a lesson, Your Highness.
And so I sent them to govern a faraway province where they couldn't bother my mother anymore. It seemed like at every turn I was reminded how my accomplishments were never enough because I was a woman. But what if I could use that to my advantage? Was there a way to stand out from other empresses? The answer was Feng Shen, a religious ceremony. It involved gathering
The answer was religion. As it often is. And I became the god of the new world. Empress wasn't enough. She had to become goddess.
our entire court, leaders and aristocrats from neighboring countries, staff, and an entire army, and all together do a pilgrimage to a sacred mountain. It was extremely expensive, and only
Love a
6
pilgrimage to a
emperors out
mountain.
of 300 could afford it. Also, I added a small twist to it. After much planning, I brought up the idea to Lee and the council. Our borders
Wait,
are
for
safe, the economy
Lee to
is
go?
good, people are pleased. I think we've earned it.
That is true, but Your Highness,
going?
we cannot allow the Empress to perform the second ritual.
Oh, you.
It is for us officials to do.
Oh, I knew they'd say that. Your Highness, the Emperor makes offerings at the top of the mountain to heaven, which represents masculine energy. At the bottom, the offerings are made to earth, which is feminine. It makes more sense for a woman to do it. Lee agreed and fired
Absolutely. Can't deny that logic. I'm with you. It's My Story Animated? Yeah, I guess My Story Animated, like, they're called that because people used to write stories in. So they got a tip. they got sent in a story from 1400 years ago. Hi, I am an empress, and I want you to animate my story.
the advisor who opposed me, sending a clear message to the rest of them. And so we gathered thousands of people and traveled for months to Mount Tai. I performed the rituals along with my husband, and we ended the procession with a huge banquet.
How's
and
this
with
supposed to
that,
get you more power?
I secured my place in history.
Oh,
Years went by.
'cause you did the
Lee and I
pilgrimage.
governed as a team, but slowly his health started deteriorating.
Hold on. I feel like you skipped over how doing the pilgrimage gave you more power. It separated you from the other empresses because you went to the mountain. I suppose that is a big deal. Oh, by the way, my husband died. I think he's dying. I think he's in the process of dying. He's gonna leave us.
Everyone at court knew his time was near. As I sat at his bedside, we held hands till slowly his got cold. I wanted
This is really giving vibes of like they're leading up to the part where like, yeah, and so that's when I got my power. Yeah, woo, husband died. Now I got the power. That's what this story was all about, remember?
to mourn, cry, and give up, but everything we built together would have crumbled if I did so. The council wanted my son on the throne, but he wasn't as capable as me and would have been a puppet to the advisors. So why give up power and risk the empire's stability when I could rule it just fine? Only because I was a woman? That never stopped me before. And so I did what I was good at, securing the throne and winning allies.
And you thought it was a love story? Nope. Remember, from the start, it was always about power.
At one point, some ex-officials started a rebellion against me. One of them wrote an entire manifesto making up all kinds of stories about me. It was read in court, and at the end, everyone was silent until I bursted out laughing.
When did she get a son? Doesn't matter.
Who wrote that? So creative. We should have kept him. My army defeated the rebels swiftly, and then I addressed the council with an ultimatum. If anyone here thinks they are more capable than me, speak now. Otherwise, pledge your loyalty.
I mean, not everything needs love, especially not what felt like a love story. I think I got confused because of the setup of the story. It seemed like she's like, I want power. So here's my plan. I'm gonna get power. And then she got in, didn't get power. And she's like, and then I fell in love. And we go, oh, okay, so you didn't get power, but you got love. You know, it's fair. I mean, it's fair. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a love story. It felt like it was gonna be one. Oh, no, 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 camera dying. Oh, we had 1 minute. All right, here we go. Here I am. You know, in the time it took me to do this, I feel like the camera's probably charged anyway. But, you know, I did it, so we're going now. Let's finish this.
My opponents stepped down one by one until eventually I was crowned as the first female emperor. The only time in history it ever happened. Other women have tried to rule as wives or widows, whispering in their son's or husband's ear, but none had the official title and absolute power. For another 15 years, I skillfully led my people. Try as they might, not even my greatest opponents could deny the fact I was a good leader.
Wait,
they
hold
attacked my
on.
character, painting me as a power-hungry.
We're kind of glossing over the fact that that was a dragon. There was a dragon in this, might I remind you, real animated story. That's proof right there. Dragons existed. I saw it one time in a true animated story.
They attacked my character, painting me as a power-hungry, ruthless woman, but never once criticized my governing skills. Truly, my greatest flaw was my audacity to play the power games of men and win. Today, historians keep uncovering the remnants of my empire's riches and culture. I wanted to make China the greatest empire in the world, and under my guidance, at the time, it was. So don't let the circumstances you were born with determine who or what you can be.
Because you can also be the Empress of China if you just believe in yourself. Oh, okay, no, I'm back. All right. That's it. There we go. A true animated story. I feel like we've really tried to condense down, well, I don't know how many years of history that was, down into a very short retelling, but hey, we got the return of a real, true animated story. I'll see you guys in the next one.